And welcome back to Box Office Report today on the 10th of March 2024. Daylight savings spring forward. And give me a sign. Kung Fu Panda 4 is one. Couldn't help it. I'm sorry. I've been listening to that on repeat for a while. I don't like Britney Spears that much, but give me Jack Black doing it, and I'm here for it. And hey, I got the first three right. Kung Fu Panda 4 debuts with 58.3 million, which is a good number, like a legit good number. Dune Part 2, number 2, 46 million, dropping only 44.2%. I called that. Not the exact number, but I called the general drop. Imaginary only debuts with 10 million, which given the amount of people who were in the theater, I'm not that surprised. Cabrini, this is where I didn't get it right because I didn't know this would be number in the top 5. Made 7.5 million. Bob Marley's One Love rounds it out with another 4.06 million. Good for that on Bob Marley. Kung Fu Panda 4, though, $58.3 million. Internationally, it doesn't seem to be starting out strong, but international, you never worry about international opening weekend. You worry about it long term. Because internationally, films don't get these things as quickly as others. I also still got to do my review for Imaginary. Sidetracking. But 58 million, let me just see. The budget is probably something on the larger side, like 200. So let's see. Kung Fu Panda 4 budget. Let's find out real quick what we got here for a budget. Budget's only 85 million, really? Hey, look. Let me actually just check something. Kung Fu Panda 3, what was the budget on that one? Because I'm wondering if they're able to maybe making these on the... Okay, that's not the budget. What was the budget? Wikipedia. Save me, Wikipedia, with all your clearly correct, mostly correct. Let's be honest, mostly correct. 145 million. Okay, all right. Second one. I want to see if there's a pattern here. Because 85 million, I'm like, what the hell? Budget? Do we have a budget here? No, they just give me the box office. So budget for Kung Fu Panda real quick here. 2. Second one, 150. All right, 1 second. And let's go to the original Kung Fu Panda. And let me just type in budget to make it easy. Budget. All right, original Kung Fu Panda budget was 130 million. So they went from 130 to 150, down to 145, and now 85 million. Interesting. Because when I watched the movie, it did not feel cheap. I want to be very clear. It did not feel cheap. Because I thought it was probably expensive. I thought it was around 150 to 200 million, like a lot of these films tend to be. But it did feel, I guess the best way to put it is it felt lesser in some capacity than the other ones. And I don't know, maybe the fact that it was on a lower budget meant they had to condense it down a bit. I mean, it isn't a long movie. You can see it's only an hour and a half with credits. So it's less than without credits. I just find that very fascinating. It does tell you, though, that while a lot of these big blockbuster pictures, some studios are still overspending. Argyle, anyone? Oh, God, Argyle. Madam Web, there wasn't even too much spent on Madam Web, and that's going to bomb. I got to check that later. I haven't checked any of this, by the way. I don't know. Some of these films seem to be able, or some of these studios seem to be able to actually now look at the numbers and look at, okay, maybe we can scale. How much can we scale back, and how much can we scale back by? Because don't forget, part of that 85 is the paycheck for the actors. Now, granted, it's vocal performances, so no one's making like $10 million. But Jack Black's easily making $1 million plus, easy. Viola Davis, Awkwafina, those are like your main three. They're probably making about $1 million each, easy. So, I mean, but that being said, you're probably not looking at much more than like 5 million total, maybe 10. I'd be pushing it on the 10, but 5 million for the paycheck, because again, it's vocal. You're not there live on set, so you don't have to negotiate as much. Jack Black's probably gotten raises though, so he is the star. So you're looking maybe like 2 to 3 million. But still, like maybe 5 to 7 million is what you're paying these people. So the movie itself is more made on like 78, 75 million or something like that, which still, that's impressive based on the film we got. The film was good. I like the film. It's the weakest, I think, of the 4, but weak doesn't mean bad. And look, 58 million on a domestic opening weekend for an $85 million budget. Look, there's not a lot right now coming out for kids films in the foreseeable for a little bit now. Let me actually get the box office up, or not box office, then the foreseeable. Let's just look at the remaining month. So this is the current week we got here. This coming week we got Arthur the King, which will be a nice family film, but shouldn't eat into Kung Fu Panda's box office at all. Then we got Ghostbusters, The Frozen Empire. Again, I don't see that, while it would still attract kids, I don't see that eating into their box office at all. I really don't, because it's just, again, it's the new animated hit on the block, and it's going to have, looks like the entirety of March minimum to itself, because you got Godzilla and Kong the New Empire. Kids will want to go see that, but it's not a kids film. And then, let me see here. What's the next animated film? I guess that's the question, or at least family-friendly film in the same ballpark. Let me see here now. Whew. I don't, honestly, no joke, there is nothing that comes out to challenge Kung Fu Panda for its reign until If, and then Garfield the following week. That's because it's that Ryan Reynolds friendly imaginary. They need to find new kids. Also, that is that charming looking one. And then Garfield the next week. So you don't get another animated family friendly challenger until mid-May. So similar to what like Puss in Boots did, similar to like what Wonka did, you're going to basically have Kung Fu Panda pretty much go unchallenged for legitimately 2 whole months. That is going to be delicious for Universal, because that's going to be num ranking at the box office. Because honestly, the marketing budget was not big on this film. I mean, it wasn't small either, but I'd say 50 to 60 million probably. I would say at best you're looking at maybe like 70 million or 75 million, something like that. Because I think it's probably a case of when you add it all together, it's like 150. So the film's probably got to hit about, let's see, about 230. Film's got to hit about 230 to break even. Which right now wouldn't look like it's going to do that, but let's wait to see what the international numbers are going to roll out for us. But look, even if the international it doesn't really turn out to be all that great, it's going to have a really good run in the domestic box office. Because, again, it's got good reviews. In fact, what were the reviews for Kung Fu Panda? They're not like 90% or anything, but I think last I knew they were in the like 70s minimum. Let me see here. Kung Fu 70, yeah, 70%. Not a fantastic review or a rating, but a good rating, a solid rating. And again, with no other animated films out right now, I mean, we have Migration in its 12th week still out, so sure, it made an extra 1.1 million this week, but there's nothing else out there. So Kung Fu Panda does not have any challenges for that throne for a while. So let's see let's keep an eye on what that's going to do. Speaking of which, who called it last week that Dune 2A was going to be number 2? But B was probably not going to drop above 50%. In fact, it was probably going to take a mid to low 40% drop. Boom! Oh, who called it? Now, what did it actually make overall? It's 46 million domestically right now, this week. 157 domestically, and 210 world internationally for right now $367 million global total or gross total, which is great. Look, the film's got to hit about 510, so we're not in the it made money point yet. We're not there yet, but we're well on our way there, because it was only like at 170 something last week. It pretty much doubled. In fact, it more than doubled its opening weekend worldwide. And this is a film that's going to have legs, because while we have, especially because there's nothing coming out next week to do anything to it, but it's such an experience. That's the thing that separates films like Dune from a lot of the other films that come out. This is an experience that you gotta feel on the big screen. It is just impactful and embracing and just awe-inspiring. And me and my girlfriend both said, it's like, yeah, I'll probably watch Wonka again before I watch Dune 2. I got my fill on the first go. That was it. I rewatched Dune, the first Dune prior to the second one before we went to see it, and I still enjoyed it very much. They are long movies, though. They are long movies, excuse me. But this is molding well for its long-term box office, definitely. Because it doesn't have that damn day-and-date release to deal with, which is good. And it's clear it's got legs, because there's no, like I was saying earlier, next week it's got nothing. There are no real challengers for what it's bringing. Obviously, as we just saw, it's not going to be number one at the box office anymore because you got Kung Fu Panda. It's still going to take, unless some weird happens sometimes, unless something happens, it's still going to take drops next week and so forth and so on. Maybe in its like 5th or 6th week, it might go back up with maybe some re-release screens or something like that, because that happens sometimes. But it's not gonna, it's gonna be losing ground every week. But as long as that ground is losing stays in like the 30 to 40% range, or 50% range, which it clearly seems to be right now, it's gonna hold pretty nicely to that number one spot for a little bit. Now, that being said, as more films come out that are going to appeal to more types of audiences, your Ghostbusters and your Godzillas and Kongs, for example, those two will take a decisive chunk. Not like a definitive, oh God, it's doomed, it can't make its money back. No. In fact, if anything, I want to say maybe next week, but if not next week, then definitely by Ghostbusters. It's going to make its money. It will have made its money back, definitely. But those films, because they're now more of a blockbuster fare, are going to be drawing in more audiences. So yeah, we got to keep your eyes out definitely on those, and how they may interact with Dune. But right now, Dune is on a good track. It's on a good track to not only make its money back, but make a nice chunk of profit for Warner Brothers. The question right now is, will it hit $1 billion? And the answer for that is, I could not tell you right now. No one thought Avatar was going to hit $1 billion, let alone $2 billion, and yet it did, and become the highest grossing film of all time. I will say this: if it can take the drops it's taking and really bring in the international, because that's what's going to do it. It's going to be the international. Really bring in the international. Like if I look at the international next week and it says, I don't want to say if it says like 4 something. If it says like 350 on there, now you know what? Let me take it back. If it says like 390 or up next week on the international, then I would say it's got a shot at least. But if the international comes next week and it's only like 320, I'm probably going to be leaning towards no, it is not. But we'll see what happens there. Anyway, though, Dune Part 2, it deserves all the success it's getting. Absolutely it does. And hey, between those two, it's a $100 million box office this week. So great. Imaginary, which 1 second here. What was I don't even know what the reviews on him. Ooh, 32? So I haven't given my review yet for Imaginary. I meant to do it yesterday, but I was just on a bit of a time crunch. I'll do it after I'm done with this video. I'd fall into the camp of people who did like the movie. It's got some logic problems, definitely. It's got some, it has issues with it, but yeah. Budget though, 10 to 12 million, which is what Blumhouse seems to do. So average that out, you got 11 million. All right. Now that being said, I do remember seeing the trailer for this quite a bit, and they had 2 good trailers. Definitely had 2 good trailers. My guess is we're looking at 20 to 30 million in your marketing, which means you're looking at a film made on roughly 41 million, give or take. It has not gotten an international release yet, so keep that in mind. Yeah, that's not really a good start, but we'll see what happens. Blumhouse had their first kind of miss with Night Swim. This is leagues better than Night Swim, that's for certain. But yeah, it's got to make somewhere in the neighborhood of, even if I'm lowballing it, 45 million to 60 million to break even. And I'm lowballing it on the 20. Let me see if I can find a marketing budget. Hold on. Imaginary marketing budget. Let's find out, shall we? Imaginary marketing budget. Sometimes they list them, sometimes they don't. Marketing budget. All right. Budget. The cost of marketing and blah, 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 blah. Imaginary. Oh God. Hold on. Imaginary film. Imaginary 2024. Let's try that. I just realized that is itself is a very different. $13 million budget. Blumhouse Imaginary. A $13 million budget. Is that are they saying that's the marketing budget? Because they're saying it only needs 13.2 to break even. Which I guess it makes sense because you saw it too. It said about 10 to 12, 11 or 12. So average out to 11. If you're saying it's got 13 in there, then yeah, actually that would make sense. That would make sense. Because you add 13 onto the 10, that's 23. And so the film basically would need about, roughly speaking, 34. So they got a little off here. But yeah, okay, all right. Let's roll back a little bit here. If that is correct, and that is a big if, they keep saying 13 million. Okay, so 13 million. Let's just do the average right now, 24 million. It's got to make about 36 million, give or take. Not an unreasonable ask. The question is going to be its box office next week. That's when it's going to be. Plus any international it makes. Because $10 million opening worldwide is not as strong. Even for a film made on that much, it's still not a strong amount because you still have the marketing put in, as we saw. So, I don't know. I like the film. Blumhouse apparently has kind of been dropping the ball a little bit. Not like Night Swim they've had God knows how much success. So let's be very clear. They're not hurting. They can handle a couple fumbles. Even Night Swim didn't. Let me see. Do I still have Night Swim listed in here? Oh my God, Night Swim is listed in here. Even Night Swim still made $52 million. Now, I didn't check Night Swim initially, so let's check Night Swim's marketing budget. Because Night Swim is, I believe, on a $15 million budget. Night Swim is on a $15 million budget? Let's see here. Not IMDb. Let's see here. Night Swim is on a $15 million budget, made $53 million. Well, I don't care about I like Wyatt Russell, but I don't care about Wyatt Russell right now. Marketing budget. Benefits. Budget. There we go. Marketing budget. Let's see here. Night Swim. Night Swim. 2024 marketing budget. Seriously. Let's see here. Does it give me an idea what the marketing budget was? Opens overseas took a film which cost $15 million to make, scoop $12 million. Let's see here. I know we're focusing on a very different thing right now, but let me go back to Wikipedia because it might say how much it was marketed for. Box office, critical response, filming. They're not giving me a marketing budget. It grossed $32 million worldwide total. Yeah, I'm not getting but still, it wasn't a big. I mean, I remember the trailers. You're looking at probably. Let me put it this way: if Imaginary is in fact made on 13 million, like a 13 marketing budget, then I would go on record saying that Night Swim was probably made on about 15, probably roughly equivalent. So that means it did make its money back. So it wasn't actually a real bomb. It just didn't make the numbers that Blumhouse normally makes. I guess is what we were trying to get at with this entire analogy. We'll see where Imaginary ends up. Maybe it'll just end up being Imaginary. Cabrini, I did not think this would be in number one or in the top 5. After witnessing disease and poverty in the slums of New York, Italian immigrant Francesca Cabrini embarks on a daring journey to persuade the hostile mayor to provide housing and healthcare for hundreds of orphan children. That's nice. I didn't think anyone was really... $69 worth of people saw it internationally, which means what? If your average movie-going ticket's about $10, give or take, 6 to 7 people saw it internationally. Oof. Regardless, good for it. It was a movie I wasn't really focusing on very much, so plus it's not part of the big studios really, so it's not one that was on my radar. But Bob Marley still was $4 million this week, 160, still didn't break even. And Paramount, unfortunately, is apparently having a rough time. So, what's Paramount's next film? Go away, ad. What's Paramount's next film? Let's see here. We have. Let's see now. Okay, Paramount. What do you got? What do you got? Bring it. Show me what you got, Paramount. Paramount pitched Snack Shack. Okay, what's your next big release, Paramount? Because Snack Shack isn't gonna cut it. Okay, they got nothing there. Okay, nope, they're not the first Omen. We're struggling here, folks. What is Paramount's next big film? I think I looked this up last time and I couldn't find it. Seriously, do I gotta go all the way into May to find a film by Paramount? Let me refer. Okay, If. Yeah, that's right. If is their next big film. All right. Whoo! This is interesting because Paramount had such a great year when Top Gun Maverick came out, but apparently, at least the movie division isn't doing well. A lot of theaters or a lot of studios kind of struggled last year because I think a lot of audiences are just kind of tired of certain things. It's not bad. It's not a certain type of movie fatigue. It's a bad or a mediocre movie fatigue, or they're overestimating the popularity of a certain franchise, like with Mission Impossible. I think they're overestimating Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible, even though Tom Cruise was coming off Top Gun Maverick. So I don't know. All I know is Bob Marley still hasn't made his money back. That's what I know, which is unfortunate. Because as far as I know, it wasn't a bad movie, which just wasn't that great. Didn't go out to see it, and it's a little too late to be going to see it. But still. Ordinary Angels made a little over $2 million this week. 16 million-ish. Good for it. There's nothing really to say about it. I couldn't find any budget for it. It probably didn't make its budget back. Madam Web. Did Madam Web do it? Did it cross the $100 million mark? Oh, 90. Oh, you dirty SOBs. You dirty SOBs. 96 million. 96. It's $3.4 million away from making it to the $100 million club and still failing miserably. Now, do I think it will still succeed in doing that? Yes, I still think it'll barely, but I still think it'll get there. But oh my God, I thought I was going to do it this week. I am so embarrassed of myself. And it's only in its fourth week, and they're only taking it massively out of theaters. So, yeah. Migration in our 1.1 million, though. Good for Migration. $281 million. Enough said on Migration, really. I think we've said all we can say. It performed. It overperformed, honestly. YOLO! God, I didn't know this was a thing. After an argument with younger sister Lei Ying, with younger sister Lei Ying, after argument with younger sister Lei Ying moves out on her own. She meets a boxing trainer and starts boxing. Okay, grammar, people. How about after an argument with her younger sister, Lei Ying? Why am I having trouble saying Lei Ying? Maybe it's because it sounds like laying. You know what? That's what it sounds like, laying. Laying. But I have to emphasize the ying, so I have to say lay and then ying. Point being, grammar. Come on, proper grammar, folks. Because that honestly sounds like the stereotypical after argument with younger sister. Like that's what it kind of sounds like in my head reading that. Is that racist of me? Maybe unintentionally. Sorry if it is. Look, I'm obviously any racism that comes out of my mouth, if I ever say it, is unintentional, and I apologize. I do actually apologize for it. That being said, that's how it sounded. So yeah, Wonka, another 600 grand. Yeah, Wonka's done. I thought maybe it could at least hit 630, but no, Wonka's done. And Wonka, it's fine being done. It's absolutely fine. Argyle, did you? Yeah, no, Argyle still has made less than Madam Web. Oh God, it's so bad. Because Argyle is leagues better than Madam Web. It is leagues better than Madam Web. But Argyle, in its, I think 6th week? Yeah, 6th week versus Madam Web's 4th week didn't make more than Madam Web. That hurts just to say. Oh my God. Yeah. It is what it is. Then you got all like the Oscar winners hanging around, making their extra bucks before they get taken out of the theaters. So yeah, it was a good week in the box office. Good weekend. By the way, I actually learned now. I meant to go out and see Poor Things, but I actually learned what the plot of Poor Things actually was now that I heard about it. And because I was watching someone rank their the Oscar with the Best Picture nominees, and they gave them kind of their overviews and what the movie's kind of about and so forth. But yeah, now that I heard that premise, I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of effed up. I'm not gonna spoil what the premise is, but yeah, that is kind of messed up, just a little bit. But I digress. So, what do I think the box office next week is going to look like? Well, this coming week, we do have Arthur the King, Love Lies Bleeding, which I've heard, I keep saying this, and I keep hearing the name. Jim Manager, Lou Falls for Jackie, a body. Oh, it's the other lesbian film that's coming out. I mean, it is. Love Lies Bleeding. Oh yeah, okay, I remember that now. I was interested in seeing that too. So I will probably be at Arthur the King this week. Oh, and the American Society of Magical Negroes. That's coming out this week too, which doesn't seem to be in wide release, but Box Office Mojo isn't always the best at updating that. And man, at least they're using an N-word I don't feel as dirty for saying. If it were the N-word, I would not be saying that title. I'd be saying the American Society of Magical N-words. Jeez. Oh, God. Yeah, like as a white guy, and I'm pretty sure it's designed that way. As a white guy, I feel uncomfortable saying that. Man, but it is commentary. It is real commentary, played up to a certain degree with a comedic premise and a little bit of a magical fantasy element to it. But it is commentary, definitely. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, Arthur the King, One Life. What is One Life? Sir Nicholas Nicky Witten, a young London broker in the months leading up to World War, who rescued over 600 children from Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia. Bleecker Street Mia. Okay, apparently it's a biopic. Okay. Cool. Great. It's probably not going to be in the top 5. So yeah, Arthur the King and Love Lies Bleeding are probably your 2 big ones. So neither of them are going to be beating either Dune 2 or Kung Fu Panda. I just don't see that happening. Both those are going to be in your 1 and 2 spot. Honestly, I think it's still going to be Kung Fu Panda number 1 and Dune 2 at number 2. Then I'll go Arthur the King. I do think that. I'll then say Imaginary. And then I'll go Love Lies Bleeding, because I have a feeling it's going to be a Drive Away Dolls scenario where there's some of those of us who know it's coming will go see it, but otherwise it's going to be it's just going to have its small audience. So yeah, again, Kung Fu Panda 4, Dune Part 2, Arthur the King, Imaginary, and then I'll go Love Lies Bleeding. But until then, what do you got for the box office this week? Let me know. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.